This is the 18th season of Bass Talk Live. With your host, Matt Pangrath. BTL is brought to you by Lowrance, Bass Cat Boats, AFCO, Strike King Lures, Sunline, Big Bite Baits, Spro, X-Zone Lures, Gamakatsu, The Bass Tank, Denali Rods, and Pro Guide Batteries.
PTL, coming at you!
Bass Talk Live, wrapping up a regular week in May. It's been forever since we've been in the studio for a full week, not having to shoot double shows, getting ready for a tournament. Obviously, Uncle Frank will be on tomorrow with a call-in show for day 4. So if you have any questions for Frank Scalish, tomorrow will be your opportunity for that. But really excited about today's show. We have Fat Cat Newton on the show. First time that he has ever made an appearance on BTL, and kind of going a little bit outside the box. You know, for so many years, BTL was, industry and interviewing just anglers and tournaments and how they did in tournaments and what they did. It's Jeffrey's kind of 3 pillars of entertain, educate, and engage. And I think the show's kind of evolving and developing along with social media, the internet, access, different avenues for different people to make livings in the industry. I know we had Ben Milliken on earlier this year, talked about how he's made a career in the bait development and targeting big bass and YouTube. Johnny Schultz was on from Fish the Moment, talking about his educational YouTube series. And I had a chance to kind of talk with Fat Cat when he was hosting and emceeing the 24th annual $30,000 for St. Jude, pushing the total over the 24-year history of that event to $5 million. And I said, dude, I've seen you've been making some moves. You're doing the NPFL thing. I know you do Brian Robinson's Reel 'em In Foundation. And Fat Cat's kind of been a staple. If you're not familiar with him, if you just strictly follow the tournaments, I'd be interested to see how he explains what he does. I always explain it when you get on the plane next to someone and they're a chatty Cathy next to you, and they say, "Well, what do you do for a living?" And I'm always like, "Well, how deep do I want to go down this wormhole? Do I just want to say I'm in the outdoor industry?" Or do you want to talk about the fishing, or am I a writer or a podcast? There's so many different things, and I think Fat Cat falls into that category where he's starting to diversify and get outside of his little box. It'd be interesting to see how he describes what he does. Before we get to Fat Cat, though, a lot of tournament action going on. The MLF Pro circuit is off today, and I believe so. I think they do 2 days of practice, an off day, and then a tournament. 4th stop of that year on Lake Gunnersville. Will be interesting to see if that lake finally shows out. We've been to some heavy hitter fisheries this past year, and it's been kind of stingy. Not a lot of those mid to upper 20-pound bags that we've become accustomed to at Chickamauga, at Gunnersville, at kind of some of those historic TVA fisheries like that. But they will kick off the second half of their season tomorrow. And then I also wanted to mention, man, there's some crazy stuff going on at Lake Mead right now. And if you've been following BTL and what's going out on the West Coast, BTL, we got a soft spot for the West Coast anglers. And Billy Egan is also going to be on the first week of June with what he called a major announcement with one bass. So it'll be interesting to have him on. But Lake Mead is losing water, rapidly losing water to the point where it's hard to find a place where you can launch your boat and catch your boat. But one of the things is they've been finding bodies in barrels out there over the past couple weeks, and they just found another body over the weekend. This is a CNN article, and they believe that this body was a victim who died of a gunshot wound sometime in the mid-'70s or early 80s, and they're finding them in Colville Bay because the lake is like 100 and 60 feet low right now. So all this crazy stuff. So trying to keep an eye on what's going on Lake Mead. It will be very interesting to see what Billy Egan has to say. I know they do a bunch of stuff, Havasu, they have the Clear Lake Open, California Open, things like that. But some crazy stuff going on at Lake Mead. It says, as of Monday, Lake Mead's water level was 1,052 feet above sea level, roughly 162 feet below its 2,000 level when it was considered full. It is the lowest level on record for the reservoir since it was filled in the 1930s. So it'll be interesting to see the implications that has on the U.S. Open and how many more 40-year-old bodies that they find out there in barrels. So unsolved mysteries going on Lake Mead. All right, let's get right to our guest today. And I really don't know the direction that this interview is going in. There he is, Fat Cat Newton. Thanks for joining me, dude. I know you've had a busy schedule. You just got back from Minnesota. I'm assuming that you flew out there. That wasn't a cross-country traverse, was it?
No, man, I definitely flew out there. Yeah, they flew me for that one. But I would have walked for that event. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that is a great event. How did you get hooked up with St. Jude on that? Because I know when Adam Bartuzek, the guy that I fished with, Crappie Chronicles, Independent Media, was talking, he was like, "Hey man, Fat Cat hosted. It's a big deal." And I was like, "Really?" And then I saw you there on the first morning when we were getting ready to launch. But how'd you get involved with the Dick Hiley St. Jude Bass Classic?
Yeah, dude, my name got thrown into the mix. I was there, I think 2016 or 2017 in Wabasha for one of Brian Robinson's Reel 'Em In Foundation tournaments that I would MC. And they were looking for an MC that following year, and my name got thrown into the hat. They reached out to me, and of course I was like, yeah, I'm all in, man. And here we are.
You had a really good Facebook social media post about kind of some of your history with childhood cancer going back, a real serious post. And, I found the more you put yourself out there in the public, the more you're risking, obviously. The more feedback you get, the more people want to interact, but also it seems like the more connections you make and the more people realize, hey, this isn't just a personality. This isn't just someone that I see on the TV, on the internet. These are people with real lives, with struggles. I talk a little bit about it on BTL, going through confidence and the ups and the downs, questioning myself and things. But it was pretty amazing to see the feedback that you got talking about going through acute lymphatic leukemia at age 9 and the impact that had on your family as well. And I think kind of showed a lot of people a little bit different side to Fat Cat Newton than they were used to seeing over the past 5 years.
Yeah, man, that was a hard video. Wow. Yeah, dude, like doing what I do, I've always made myself vulnerable for the self-deprecating humor that I've always done.
Right.
Because I'm used to, I've always been a big dude, so I roll with the punches on being big, right? I embrace the big guy stuff. I don't mind, sun's out, guts out. That's one thing I don't. But like, far as opening up about personal life, yeah, that was tough. And I've been doing this over 8 years, and I don't really pull that curtain back. Just because social media, man, it's not everybody's always nice. So I was leery on ever opening up about my personal life and stuff like that. But man, I'm glad I did. I'm glad it took a long time. I've talked a little bit about it in the past, but dude, could not believe the reaction that video got, the amount of interaction, and all the positive vibes from it. Yeah, dude, and it's hard for me to talk about my life and how I came up with what I went through because it affects other people that aren't in this world. So I'm very careful in what I say and how I say things about how I did come up or how it affected us because of, it's not just me that it affected my whole family.
Yeah, you kind of have to tread lightly around that. I think that's one of the cool things about the fishing industry. Like, you can be, like you, for example, like you can go to a fishing show, a fishing expo, KVD like that, and it's, fan interaction, everybody coming up, appreciating your work. But you can also get away from that. It's so niche. Like, you can go and no one for months could know, who you are. But the cool thing, I think, and it's weird, like when you think of like people having fans in fishing, like it doesn't affect anyone's like life if Kevin catches a bass or not, but you like become invested in these people because in this industry, there's so much time for one-on-one interactions. And part of the culture is telling stories, interacting like, hey, I saw this and this happened to me. And I think that's one of the things as I've kind of grown up in this industry full time since 23 is how many people have cool stories and how much time is allotted in this industry. And instead of just a handshake or an autograph, like in your case, you actually have like time where you can talk and get to know the individual stories of people from around the world. I think that's a really cool aspect of fishing that a lot of the stick and ball sports you kind of lacking just because you don't have access.
For sure, dude. And like I said, with fishing, where we all come from different backgrounds in fishing, and we all come from different struggles. And for a lot of us, man, fishing is the escape. Fishing was a happy place for me when I was a kid going through everything. Like, I was thinking about this yesterday, man, like my first love, trying to think about the first thing that I actually loved and look forward to other than food, probably would have been fishing, man, because like my earliest memories as being a little child was being in the boat with my dad, my mom, and my little brother 7 years younger. So as soon as he popped out, he was in the little John boat that we had in the stroller. So my first love was fishing, and it's just crazy how here we are, man. All these years later, I've ended up in the fishing world with no intentions of ever being in the fishing world. I've driven a truck most of my adult life. Never a truck driver, but I've always drove a truck, if that makes sense. And just somehow ended up in the fishing world. And like, there's no other place I'd rather be now that I'm here.
Like, did you start out bass fishing, or was it just on the water? Because I mean, my dad doesn't know how to bass fish.
Look, man. I have these conversations, especially now that I'm getting older. I open up more. Like my dad passed away in 2003. But so the way we grew up, dude, we went fishing and we went hunting. We didn't go fishing for one thing or hunting for one thing. When we went with my dad, so my dad will pull up to a little spot we got here on the Potomac Creek and called the carp pens. You guys familiar with the river and know where the carp pens are?
Carp, like C-A-R-P?
Yeah, carp. Yeah, it's where they used to keep pens of carp there back in the day. It's called the carp. It's close to where the Potomac Creek bottlenecks. It's the first no wake. So we would go there. We'd pull up. My dad would tie off to a branch, just lay down some stuff there. And he would throw out 3 rods. He would throw out a tight line, a bobber, and then he would throw like a jitterbug or a buzzbait or something like that. He would always throw out 3 things, and we would catch everything. It wasn't just, we never just went bass fishing. We never just went catfishing and hunting. We never just went deer hunting or squirrel hunting. Buddy, if it moved, we shot it and we figured about it later. That's just how my dad was, how we grew up. I didn't start specifically targeting bass. My first bass tournament was like, I don't know, man, 02, 04 maybe? I don't know, something like that.
What year were you born? How old are you?
I'm old. I was born 78, dude. I'm 43 years old.
Okay. We're roughly the same age. I turned 38 this year. Once you get older like that, different. So anyway, so to early 2000s is when you got into the bass fishing game then?
Yeah, for the most part. Dude, we used to run around the roads trying to catch bass. When I first started taking a series of fishing tournaments were early 2000s.
Just jump into a club, or was there someone
so my best friend on Mellow Yellow, Phil Wilcox, he's in some of my videos. We started, and I would suggest this to anybody looking to get into bass fishing. You want to figure out, how can I fish tournaments? What's the best way to learn? Find an electric motor club in your area. That's what I did. Dude, the Weekend Bassers here in Fredericksburg. Awesome group, guys. Been around forever. And it's very affordable, man. They do like $40 derbies. But they're all over the country. Find you a 10-boat club, electric motor only. Throw you a couple trolling motors on there. You and your friend, you and your son, you and your dad, whatever it is. But that's how I learned to tournament fish, and that's what I would suggest anybody to do, because those are the boys. That's when you are forced to fish behind somebody. You're forced to get better, or you're going to get your feelings hurt. So that's where I started. Then I fished, feel like back when there was the Everstart, I fished the Everstart on the Potomac. Fished the Rayovac when they turned to Rayovac. The Open on the James River. I fished a couple of those, but I think my best finish was like 70. You know, but as a co-angler on top of that, I've always been a co-angler for the most part.
Those electric boats, I mean, obviously the kayak thing is absolutely exploded.
Oh,
I don't even
crazy.
know like how to handle the kayak thing on BTL because they're like two different worlds, but they're now colliding because you're getting the money and you're getting the guys who are serious in it. I'm trying to wrap my head around how I want to cover it, but it seems to me like we have we call it mini boat clubs here in Oklahoma. I mean, these guys are decked out, double graphs, like you said, to torpedo, crazy stuff to do it. But on that East Coast, that's a big deal out there. I know Brian the Carpenter, like what they do with that Ike Live boat, and there's just seems like there's a bunch of, I don't want to say more urban, but like the population is more dense out there, but there's a lot of people who like to fish, and that allows them without having the facilities for giant boats and all this stuff to like go do the same thing. And it seems like that's a big deal out on the East Coast, or the electric only clubs.
It's big. I know around here for us too, because we have a lot of reservoirs, a lot of places where you can't dump a 250 in. We got these smaller bodies, and some of the bodies of water just won't allow you. If you do dump it in, you've got to have it trimmed all the way up. You can't use it. Some of them might have idles only, but where we are, there's a lot of reservoirs. Like you said, man, it's an affordable. Well, it can be affordable, but some of these dudes just take it to the next level, like you were saying. There was one time, dude,
$15,000 John boat.
Yeah, dude, it was a 20,000. Hobie had a $20,000 kayak at the Classic that was there for less than 12 hours. People were talking, oh, nobody's going to buy this. Nobody's going to buy a $20,000 kayak. I think I saw on the floor like 8 I don't know. It was gone the first day. But we made a run one time, me and Melliella on the Rappahannock. Okay, electric motor only, John boat only. It was an 11-mile run. I think it was an 11-mile round trip. Anyways, we had 13 batteries and a 14-foot low John boat. So we have one motor up front. We have the 136-volt foot control up front. Then we had a 136-volt, and we had two 12-volt, two 24-volts, and we had extra batteries. Bro, we had that much of just rail hanging at the top of the water, but it was
easy
fun.
To boat flip. You just reel them into the boat.
Yeah.
You don't even have to worry about the gunnel. So how did you end up in the fishing game then? It would be my question. You're a truck driver. Are we talking like dump truck, semi truck, like
all
construction?
Of it, yeah. I grew up. Drove a beer truck for like 4 or 5 years. Did the beer truck thing. Hauled heavy equipment. Like where I'm at, I'm in a place called White Oak, and we're right on the Potomac River right here.
How close are you to DC?
Don't touch. No. I'm not DC. I'm
no,
60 miles south of DC. No, you're good. I just
I know, but I'm just trying to get for just a reference point that everyone knows where it is. Like how long does it take you?
Where I am, the city closest to me, Fredericksburg, is smack dab in the middle of Richmond and DC.
Okay.
So my road dead ends on Potomac Creek.
Okay.
And I totally forgot where I was going with that.
You're talking about I had asked you about the types of trucks you'd been driving.
Oh yeah. So drove that, did heavy equipment, excavating, yada yada yada, and they got hooked up. Anybody from around the South, North Carolina, Harris Teeter. I started driving a truck for Harris Teeter grocery stores. I drove for Harris Teeter for about 11 years. Then in 2019, I was just not happy. So I quit and started doing Fat Cat full time. But to back up, March 2014, I got a GoPro. And I was fishing a club then, FFC, Fredericksburg Fishing Club. And we got a bunch of characters in there, and I've always been stupid saying dumb stuff. I got this GoPro, and I just made a video, and I called myself Fat Cat. Nobody's ever called me Fat Cat. That was a name that I made for me and some buddies that talked about opening up a shop called Fat Cat Tackle years ago. Then when I got this GoPro, I decided to make a dumb video, called myself Fat Cat. And then the next weekend at the club, some guys were saying some of the same stuff that I'd said on the video. And then it just kind of morphed. Man, within 3 months of making Fat Cat videos, probably shorter than that, it's back when 5x3 was hot. Some of you guys that have been around for a minute remember 5x3.
The clothing deal?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. 5x3 was hot as fire for a minute.
I remember when it came out, and then it kind of turned into a dumpster fire for a little bit, and now it's kind of like trying to make a comeback.
It was bad.
We don't have to go down that road. But yeah, I remember when that first came out.
But to piggyback off that, it's now owned by new ownership.
Yeah.
Great guys. And, it was just a bad story how it all went down. I don't wish any ill will on the former owner or anything like that. It was crazy. It was a roller coaster. But anyways, 3 months into Fat Cat, I was hooked up with them. Then I got hooked up with Cashin. And then it was just wild, man. I've been making, I don't know, I've been trying to figure out what the heck I'm doing ever since. You opened the show up about how do you explain what you do to somebody?
Yeah.
Bro, good question. Still to this day, I don't know. Like if somebody is familiar with social media, but I don't know what I do. I talk for NPFL, but like I've made a bunch of dumb videos, like just ridiculous videos. And I just get on social media and bounce around and try to put a smile on somebody's face, man. But I really don't know how I'm still making it. I don't understand how I'm still doing it.
So like your first, I guess, payday in the industry would have to have just been YouTube royalties, right?
Dude, let's peel the curtain back. In my career of YouTube, I have made $117 on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it's hard to make money that way. A lot of times, man, the platforms, it comes in spurts how they pay. It depends on where you are. Man, I've normally made my money through partnerships and different things like that, but not from YouTube. A little bit from Facebook, a little bit from TikTok. I've never made any money from Instagram. But
is it just ridiculously hard to monetize? So the viral videos, like the music videos, the high kick, that stuff, and then obviously the Bassmaster Classic video. If you haven't seen it, where a unsuspecting news reporter interviewed you, I guess it helps in your brand and awareness that might lead to partnerships outside of that. But those videos, when you see you don't really benefit from that outside of the publicity and I guess kind of building the aura around you, which I never thought about. I thought there had to be like a back channel to way you could monetize that.
For me personally, it hasn't. And dude, I'm naive to a lot of that. I'm too stubborn to hire somebody. I'm too tight. I don't make the money to hire somebody to do everything. It just seems like everything I would make would have to go to them. Mm-hmm. But like far as getting paid per view and stuff like that, here recently, I did get a good notification from Facebook. It was right around Christmas time. It was the end of December, and Facebook, and I'll give you guys some insight, the amount of money some of these people are making. Facebook sent me a notification and said, hey, we want to start pushing our reels now. If you post your reel directly to Facebook, we will pay you up to $35,000 a month. $35,000 a month, okay, is what Facebook is willing to pay some people. With me on Facebook, I have over 100,000 followers, so I guess I fell in that category. So what I did is I posted a few reels, and within less than 72 hours, I made
decent
over $1,000. Okay, within over $1,000. Then I got a red flag. Facebook said they flagged me, said I can no longer monetize my reels because what I had done is I had shared a 30-second clip from one of my old viral videos, the nunchuck video.
Yeah.
Well, when I uploaded that, the audio to that,
copyrighted?
Dude, it's my audio. That's what had happened was somebody had used my video previously and they had tagged my audio with something else. So my own personal audio that I had created and have tens or hundreds of millions of views if you count MTV and everything else. Mm-hmm. Somebody else had credit for that, and I could no longer make that money. I've never been good at making money on social media, man. I don't do it for the money. It's obvious. Like I say, $117 in YouTube. I haven't made a lot of money doing this whole Fat Cat, and I know it's coming. That's the thing. I love doing what I'm doing. It's a whole lot better than what I used to do. And the way that I grew up, how I've grown up, with what I've grown up with, dude, I've learned money's whatever. If you're not happy here, at Harris Teeter, I made the money. Drivers make good money. I've made the six figures. I've made all that. It's cool, but if you're not good up here, bro, money don't mean nothing. So I realized in my life at 43 years old, almost 500 pounds, that I was going to die. I wasn't happy. And I I've just made changes to where everything I do now is about just staying happy. Like if it stresses me out, if money stresses me out, if I got to do this and I got to make myself do that to make money, I'm good, man. I've lived the life of chasing the dollar. Now I'm comfortable, man. Like now I got my bills are at minimal. My house, like I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good. I see so many guys out here in the professional fishing world. Just man, you living on a credit card, man. Like how am I going to pay this one? How am I going to pay that one? How am I going to do this? And I've seen it all firsthand. I don't want to be like that. So, and I think a lot of these guys are just they get in over their heads, especially in content creating, and they get a taste of that money. And then they start, it's sad, but you see them change. You see them turn into somebody that you know they're not. We see that going on right now with some guys out there in the world, especially in the fishing world, that are just trying to, they thought all they had to do was fish. And then social media comes into the game and completely changes that. It's not just about fishing anymore. The sponsors are like, oh, you won that? Oh, we don't care. How many followers you got? How much product can you sell for us? How many people can you reach in your platform? Oh, you won that? Like we said, we're not, it's okay, but how much can you sell for us? Mm-hmm. It's all become about views. It's all become about exposure. And it scares me to a certain extent because I think we're kind of losing what's important in the sport. It's becoming commercialized like NASCAR. We have to be careful and not lose track of that because our sport, out of every professional sport there is, ours is very delicate. We have to be very careful. I'm talking about NPFL. I'm talking about BPT. I'm talking MLF. I'm talking about Bassmaster. We all have to be careful in what we do. Because, dude, at the end of the day, we're walking around, we're jabbing steel in live animals' faces. Like we have to be very careful and work together and stay as one unit because we are vulnerable to other people, especially the climate of this society and how easily people get offended and how quick they're ready to go on somebody. If we don't stay united and work together and try to preserve this sport that we all love as one, we're done, dude. So we cannot afford to be at each other. I know this kind of took a right turn, but it's just, I want to use your platform to say it to where we all have to get along, protect each other, or this sport that we love so much could be jeopardized by those that just don't like what we do. So,
no, that's,
sorry, I got to put a pedestal for a minute.
Fishing isn't the only one that's susceptible to that. I know, rodeo,
in my world,
hunting,
I'm just saying it's not,
sports.
But like we are like with hunting. Hunting, you're freezing it, you're throwing it, but like as recreational fishermen, I don't know, man. I'm just very conscious of that. So I always try to do things to shed a positive light on what we do. And I don't try to do anything. I don't know. It's just something that's always.
It's good. It's good. You did say one thing at the beginning. You said it's easy to lose what's important in the sport, especially with the social media stuff coming in. What do you think is important in the sport right now?
Preservation, like making sure that everything that we're doing is about preserving the sport and not putting money in pockets that are it
is a delicate balance because you make a living and pay your bills to it, but there's something you have to keep a little bit of the purity.
Yeah, man. And I say you have to be careful who you take your money from. We have to, at the end of the day, like me, it's about preservation. Mm-hmm. It's not about, hey, man, I don't know. Like I said, it's a slippery slope.
It's something that's been talking on forever, with Ray Scott just passing too. One of the biggest things that Ray implemented was the live wells and working, and it wasn't even called catch and release. It was called don't kill your catch. And, they had the stringers of the 12 to 15 fish, and then they went to the catch and release. But, on the same token, I know Gene Gilliland really well. Who was just inducted into the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame, a great biologist here in Oklahoma, who now works for Bass Angler Sportsman Society. And, there's a lot of fisheries also that are developed with the limits where you look at it as, human beings, we're a predator. We're an alpha predator. Like, there's eagles and stuff that swoop down and take bat. Like, what's a difference than us other than our, like, higher cognitive abilities? But, that is... are right. Those fisheries are managed with the catch and release, with their license sales, and we're legally allowed to harvest those fish that we're choosing not to. Even if we lose 1 or 2% of them, it doesn't matter whether you're catch and release. I mean, how far do you want to go down that slope? Do you want to go, well, no spinning rods because that tires them out, and you don't want to have the fish that tires them out. Or you want to go no barbs because that's less like I said, you could go on and on, but we're not the only industry, Fat Cat, that's dealing with this. You got that with rodeo, hunting, shooting sports, a ton, anything in that whole outdoor realm. Steve Ranella does a great job on Meat Eater, kind of really dissecting some of these social issues that we have to deal with.
Yeah, he's a great voice for us too, man. Just for outdoorsmen in general, it's a great voice for us, and he's very open-minded. And I think that's one thing that we all need to be, is being open-minded and understanding where everyone's coming from with their concerns and taking everything into consideration just to make sure that we do what we say we're going to do and preserve this sport for the future.
Mm-hmm.
Not by getting into stupid.
No, you're good. I just found out your real name is Brendan.
No, man.
Brandon.
No.
What is it?
It's Bernard. B-E-R-N-A-R-D.
Okay, dang it. Okay, you said everyone thought it was Bernard, but it's Bernard, and then all your friends call you B. Like I got a text from Drunkwood today that's like, dude, super pumped that you got B on the show today. And you said that's what all your friends call. They don't call you Fat Cat.
No, dude, nobody knew. It's funny because people here around the house that I grew up B. I've always been B. Matter of fact, I had an old pickup truck. My first truck was an '86 Jeep Comanche pickup, and on my tag it said Little B. So I'm a junior. My dad was Bernard, Bernard Senior. I'm Bernard Junior. But yeah, man, B Newton. So you hear like on NPFL, you might hear Luke or other people address me as B.
Yeah.
Man, that's me.
Is that weird having like two different personalities? Because you're kind of Fat Cat in the fishing industry, and then you're B, I guess, in your personal life.
Yeah, it is weird, man. Especially, it's weird when people don't know who they're talking to. That's the weirdest part. When people think that B is Fat Cat, when people think that Fat Cat's a real person, like all these videos I've done with the nunchucks, the shotgun on the ceiling, all these setting the hook, the boom goes to dynamite, all these numbskull crazy videos. And I think it's kind of hindered me in the business world as well, because people actually think that's a real person. It's crazy, man. Like a lot of people think it's a real person. So, yeah, dude, I do enjoy being Fat Cat sometimes, but it got to be to where it was, it's kind of a meme. I didn't want to be like, I see some of the other guys in social media, and I don't think anything's wrong with them at all. I just didn't want to do what they were doing. Like, guys that just do the meme stuff, just the viral, outlandish stuff like I was doing, and like I will continue to do, but just not as much. But I wanted to do other stuff. I wanted to be more me. And every time I would get around people, especially if they didn't know that there were two different people, it seems like they would rather talk to me than Fat Cat a lot of times. I don't know. Talking to you now, Matt, it's weird talking about it because I've always felt weird talking about myself and what Fat Cat is, because like we said earlier, I don't know what Fat Cat is. I don't know what I do. I don't know what I'm doing. I shouldn't even be here. I don't know how this all evolved into what it is. Like it's nuts, dude. I don't know what to do with it. Like Ricky Bottom to do with my hands. I don't know what to do with. I just keep going with the flow because everybody's like, so what do you want to do? What are your goals? I don't know, man. I'm just going with the flow. I'm here for a reason. Like everything has happened, so I'm just going with the flow. I'm not forcing nothing. I'm trying to treat everyone the way that I want to be treated, and trying to put a smile on folks' face.
Like I feel like you get a job. So the only I guess I would say real 9 to 5 job I had, I slid lumber at Menards, which is like a Lowe's, Home Depot or something. But when you're there, you start in, you do that, and you can go up to be assistant. You can work your way up, and then I started doing this at 23, and you realize there are so many different paths and so many different ways that people get it with knowing people or working hard or breaks, and everybody has a different path. And then the deeper you get in, you realize how many different avenues there are to make money or not make money, and it's just very muddy as far as trying to figure out what I would call a safety path to where you're like, okay, here's what I'm doing now. Here's A, B, C, D, E. Because for me, and it sounds like for you, all those letters get jumbled up at time to time. And you have to sit back and analyze, okay, what is all this time and energy that I'm investing into this? Is there an ultimate goal? What is it? And then can I be comfortable not knowing what the future holds?
Yeah, I don't. I will say I'm optimistic about my future. Like like I say, I haven't hit that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow yet. But I just know I'm in the right place, man. Like, I feel like I'm in the right place. And it's whenever I go to an event, whenever I'm on the road, like it is a drug, dude. It's euphoric. When I go out, see how I'm received and get to talk to these people, and I get the messages I get about how, hey, Fat Cat, I had a horrible day, but I can go to your page and see this, or I see these people out in public. It's fuel for the fire, because like you're saying about how you grew up 23 slits of lumber or whatever, and then this life of wherever these letters fall, they fall. I'm getting used to that. It's always been structure for me. You know what I mean? I've woke up, I knew where I had to go, knew what time I was getting home. I've always had that structure system. Now I'm just floating around trying to figure out where I need to be and make sure I don't miss an opportunity. Also, while going with the flow, but just I do like having direction, man.
Yeah. You definitely seem to have a couple different directions, especially with the MC thing that you've done, and then also with the NPFL. I want to take a quick break, and when I come back, I want to talk about the last couple of years and going from viral videos and nunchucks to, oh, that's Fat Cat on the water. He just said some insightful stuff, is interviewing the guys. Now he's behind the desk. You're doing a great job emceeing. So we're going to take a quick break. It is BTL May 11th. Hard to believe we're already in the middle of May. It's unbelievable. It seems like I was just like, oh my gosh, we're only a month away from the spawn, and now we're already in post-spawn stuff. So it is BTL on a Wednesday. We'll be back right after this.
The time for you to get Active Target Live Sonar is now. Get $200 cash back when you buy Active Target, or $400 back with Active Target and Elite FS9. And change the way you fish. Target fish with Active Target and let Elite FS handle the rest. Active Target is also compatible with HDS Live and HDS Carbon. Active Target by Lowrance.
The new Puma STS has been redesigned from the ground up. With the angler, design, function, and performance in mind, nothing on this new offering was compromised, and the only thing carried over from the previous version is the name. Based on the Soft Touch series hull that started with the flagship Jaguar, this new model is nimble and performs incredibly well at all speeds with either a 250 or 300 horsepower engine. Featuring a new 96-inch wide-body footprint, this hull measures out at 20 foot 7 inches in length. Industry-leading design coupled with tournament-winning performance. The Puma STS from Bass Cat. Feel the rush.
I've made my living on the water for over 20 years.
For 14 years.
For over 23 years.
I've worn a bunch of different clothing brands over the years.
Some companies big.
And some companies small.
All of them said they were making clothing for us.
But none of them knew us.
None of them were us. Except for one.
Except for one.
Except one.
AFCO.
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 Fishing isn't part of us. It is us.
The KVD 100 jerkbait. 15 different colors. A perfect combination of roll, wiggle, and flash. Increased castability. 3D eyes. Premium black nickel hooks. KVD. Tie one on. Striking lures.
Are you looking to install your own fishing electronics? Well, the Bass Tank is here to help you. The solution is the Bass Tank Power Harness. It takes the guesswork out of installation. No more voltage issues or interference. Designed by an engineer so that you can get professional results right there in your own garage. Installation done right with the help of the Bass Tank Power Harness. You can feel confident knowing that your installation was done right. The Bass Tank Power Harness. Give us a call or order yours today at thebasstank.com.
Welcome back, BTL on a Wednesday, May 11th, talking with Bernard, or B, or industry personality Fat Cat Newton. Currently, it's like is that the word, a metamorphosis right now? Where is it when the caterpillar goes into the cocoon and then it like comes out of a
Something
butterfly.
like that. Yeah, that sounds good.
I feel like over the last couple of years, like I said, I don't know you that well. I met you at the Classic a couple years ago. No, we shook hands, talked to you a little bit, sent you a couple social media stuff back and forth, and then you were at the St. Jude, and I was like, yeah, dude, I gotta get Fat Cat on here because I just kind of want to know. I want to know what you're up to, what you're doing, because it seems like you've been making moves. That seemed to start primarily, I would say, with the announcement, about 2 years ago now, of being the on the water talent for the National Professional Fishing League, the new league that had a good inaugural season, a really good inaugural season, and then a little bit of a reboot. And now you guys seem to be back stronger than ever. 2 events in, just wrapped up one at Hartwell, but. Would you say that was a kind of a big changing point when you were approached to be a part of that league a couple years ago?
Yeah, man, for sure. I made after being there for 1 year and re-signed the contract for year number 2, I made a post talking about how I just appreciate them, asking me to be a part of it because it's giving me an opportunity to showcase more of who I really am rather than the character of Fat Cat. So, yeah, man, and then, it's for them to be starting something off the ground and everything and to kind of want to incorporate me, it was cool, man. So it definitely has helped me be more of who I am. I enjoy that.
The thing that struck me was you seem to have a pretty good handle on the tournament scene, what's important, how to report on it, how to give pertinent information. And I think that's really difficult to do because it's not an easy sport, competitive activity, whatever you want to call it, to cover. And you really didn't have any expertise or experience in that before jumping on the water and covering it and breaking down what's going on. That had to be a little scary.
Bro, scary. Dude, major anxiety getting up there and just, wow. But yeah, dude, it was scary. But I'm surrounded by good people. That's the important thing for me. I have people that believe in me that I'm always, I think a lot of us, we are our biggest critics. We get in our own heads and we kind of forget what we're capable of, but those people that are around you know what you are and you just need them to kind of push you along sometimes. So that's what they did for me. I'm an attaboy kind of guy. I need a pat on the back sometimes. Hey, man, you didn't mess up as bad as you thought you did. All right, man. Let me see if I can change that next time. I'll burn this thing to the ground. No, but yeah, man, it's a good opportunity for me, man. NPFL opened that door. Like you say, it's giving me a chance to wear clothes that fit, not have my guts hanging out.
I remember when the FLW approached me to co-host for the Grand event. And I'd known Travis Moran from California, who hosted FLW for a long time. He's still in the industry. He does a bunch of stuff, I think, with like sticks. He did some stuff with the U.S. Open, the Johnny Morris's. But I remember I got into the studio there and I'd done all the BTL, but I'd never done any the analysis stuff. And they do then peyote gives you the earpiece and stuff, and it's a 10-minute intro, and they're like, hey, you need this, and then it's all right, you're good for 6 hours live, let's roll. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting paid to do this. There's tons of people watching, but it's just straight thrown into the fire. Because it's real easy to say one thing and everybody go, what an idiot.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Thankfully, that's one good thing I can say about the Fat Cat care. I get away with a lot. You know what I mean? For that non-stop stuff I've always done, I can mess up and play it off. But, bro, you put that earpiece in. All right, guys, we're going hot. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it. And then, Luke will start talking. And then as we might be transitioning into something with those earpieces, as we're talking, they're talking to us. It is, dude, it's hard, bro. It's definitely a learning experience, but it's pretty cool. But it's crazy.
And then it was even more of a learning experience for you to transition from the on the water kind of breakdown analysis where you can roll around and watch the guys fish and kind of get to, you're conveying the vibe. You like that better than being in studio? Yeah.
Well, here's the deal. This is what I don't like about what we're doing, but everybody has to do it. We tried the on the site studio, but it was just a technical nightmare, right?
It's a
But
nightmare.
having everybody on site is magical. I want to be there with my anglers. I want to holler at them at weigh in. I want to fist bump, high five. I want to hear their bad stories because it helps me with who I am, telling their story and just having that connection with my guys, man. There were some moments the first year that were just magical, like our meetings and different things, just that camaraderie and that brotherhood. So what I've been doing this year is I'll drive to the tournament for practice. And we do roundtables each night of practice. So we'll interview a couple anglers each night on the NPFL Facebook page. But then, like, on the day off, I drive from, like, this week or next week. I'll go to Watts Bar. I'll hang out with the guys for a couple of days. Then I'll leave Watts Bar and drive up to Green Bay or right below Green Bay in Appleton where our studio is. But I don't really have to go down there, but I want to be around my guys to get that connection because I don't have the knowledge and background that Luke does. So I want to make sure that I have something to bring to the table that he may not have, some of that insight from those guys down there, because Luke brings so much value to the announcing and commentating to where I feel like, man, I can't let this dude show me up. So I got to bring something to the table as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I like making the runs. I like running all around. And
that's interesting because Mark's catchphrase when we were covering the Elite Series when I first started was it's all about being there. And his whole thing was you can't get the true vibe and the true report unless you're laying eyes on it. You're looking the guys in the eye. You're talking to them. And with that comes a bigger price tag, a lot more time commitment, a lot more effort. And you're sitting there going, well, why do I have to be there? Well, that's the rewards that we're reaping now with the relationships you develop with the anglers, the trust that you develop with them is instead of just a phone call. You look them in the eyes and they can tell you what's going on that you can then translate. And it's a benefit to you because I feel like the product is better then, but it's also a benefit to them because you're telling their story, their real story, and you're connected and give people a vested interest in them, which in lead turns to bigger partnerships. Their sponsors getting support because people know their story and like them, which leads to more sales, and that's kind of what keeps the whole thing going.
$1,000,000%, dude. I agree with that 1,000,000%. Like you say, it helps me, if not as much, if not more than anyone else, just because that's just what I need. I like that connection with those guys.
It's a cool group that you have over there. I mean, dude, I'm not going to lie. I hadn't heard of 90% of them. Right. I got some buddies that are fishing over there. I mean, you watch some of them fish and you're like, okay, yeah, he's okay. You watch others fish and you're like, wow, how have I never heard of this guy? Mechanics, solid, decision-making, on-screen presence, amazing. And I think that you guys have kind of filled that niche. I guess the way it was described, kind of the guys who have fallen through the cracks. I mean, look at like a John Sokup, what that's done for his career. All these guys. Oh,
for sure, dude. I mean, dude,
it wouldn't exist without the NPFL.
Dude, look at Drew Six. So Drew Six, just won Hartwell, and folks thought Patrick Walters was going to win, and rightfully so, man.
I thought he was. I thought I was like, watch this.
Dude, we all did to a certain extent, but we talked about this is what I like being a part of, man. Whose life would that win have changed more? Patrick Walters or Drew Six? I think it's odd. Like Patrick Walters would have took that piece of hardware, put it on the mantle beside the rest of his hardware, probably went along with business as usual. Drew Six just won the Classic. Like, not literally, but it's a big, so it was cool to see. I feel bad that Patrick didn't win, but seeing how it affected Drew was magical, dude. It's huge. Like to be a part of that and see how it affects someone's life in such a positive way is awesome. Mm-hmm. And we give that opportunity to these guys. Some of the guys fishing with us can't fish the other trails just because of schedule conflicts or other things. We have a good percentage of our guys, like many professional anglers, that are blue collar. And when they're done weighing in, after weighing in, they're going to drive to the house, get a night of sleep, and get up and go back to work on Monday. We have a lot of guys that are like that. So,
I mean, cool you also look at a guy like a Kevin Rogers, one of the most decorated crappie tournament anglers of all time, now second in the Angler of the Year. Took him a while to get it under his belt, but I mean that's a prime example of a guy who's not like risking his family's livelihood to fish the NPFL. Doesn't have to do this, but I talk with him a little bit. And dude, he's like so ate up with the bass tournament side right now. It's crazy, and it's awesome to see him having the success that he's having this year.
Oh, dude, he was at the beginning of the year, man. He was my comeback. I think he was 60 or 60, somewhere in 60 or 70 in AOI ended last year. But this year, dude, I think he's second in progressive AOI right now for the NPFL. Yep. Huge, but he didn't take a day off. He got his teeth kicked in last year. He said, I didn't like that. I'm going to keep grinding. I'm able to keep grinding. We'll take full advantage of what I'm able to do and go out there and try to make the best of it. And Kevin Rogers is a real one. He's a top-notch guy, and just we have a lot of those top-notch guys fishing with us. But
and Justin Kimmel too. Justin Kimmel, when I found out he was fishing this year, I mean that guy. If you haven't followed what he's been doing, originally out of the back of the boat, which is incredibly hard to have consistency of, and then was able to transition to the front and still had consistency. It's really cool to see him doing well and getting the payout and payoff for all of his hard work over the past couple years.
No, it's cool to see him get out there and get it, man. I'm glad Justin came to fish with us. I like Justin. I've known him a little while, hung out with him, and yeah, dude, it's cool to see him over there. We got a lot of cool cats, man. We're blessed. We got some characters too. You know what I mean? Which is good. It makes it fun.
When I talked to you at the St. Jude, and I definitely want to go in a little bit in depth into that tournament. I was kind of waiting during the week to talk about it till I was with you on the show. But when I said, dude, I went by, I gave you a thumbs up. I said, you're doing a great job here and stuff. But you said that the host MC event thing is you don't want that to become who you fully are, just an aspect. Like you want, you're doing a couple events, but that's not where your true passion is when it comes to this industry. Is that a fair paraphrasing of what you said?
Very fair. Yeah, man. I don't how I was saying earlier, I just want to go with the flow and this and that. Like I know, like I'm looking to, yeah, dude, I like MCing. I just don't want to be an MC, I guess. Hosting the event for St. Jude was awesome. Just coming in, transitioning from doing the fat cat, funny guy, and all the crazy videos. A lot of people were assuming that I wanted to be an MC because I helped Brian MC some of his events, and I've done a few charity things. But like I just don't want to be an MC. I don't mind it. It's not where I want to be. I want to do other things. Like I like the commentating, but that's just, I don't mind doing it sometimes, but I don't want to be an MC.
So I know you mentioned like you just are kind of figuring your way out in here, but do you have a goal to do it? Like where do you ideally feel like you would fit in? And it obviously happiness is very important to you. So where do you feel like you would be the happiest in this industry, and in a perfect world, if you could manufacture and do this, where would you end up? What would you be doing? I'm very curious on this answer because I don't think is it even answerable?
For me it is, but it's like I've never talked about it publicly, not even with my friends really. So
you don't have to if you don't want to. We could.
No, it's not that heavy. It's not heavy. Just I'm a go with the flow kind of guy. But yeah, I foresee myself. This is business. I want to incorporate. Now that I have a taste, 8 years in the fishing world, I kind of have a real good idea of how to navigate as far as business goes, as far as possibly apparel, things like that. And saying this publicly is crazy, but yeah, dude, I'm going to take advantage of what I've learned in the fishing world and how to embrace those that embrace me. So I want to do something with apparel, and then not TV show, but some sort of a series or multiple, different genres of series. I have a catalog of ideas and videos, but it takes capital. It takes people backing me that are on the same level as I am. I've had some opportunities to do shows and different things, but it's always fell through. I've had done a few auditions that have just fell flat. People contact, hey, we like your stuff. We're shooting this show to the Discovery Channel. We're shooting this show to this A&E, and we want to. So you got to get on there and do interviews. I I don't know, man. Like I'm looking to do something bigger than just, if it's in the fishing world, it's in the fishing world. I'm not saying acting per se. I don't want to be an actor, but just I want to get on a bigger platform for a preservation of our sport. I'm looking for a bigger platform to spread the word of St. Jude, and a bigger platform just to spread smiles and positive energy with a sarcastic, humorous, sometimes morbid side. Like it's crazy, but I don't know where I'm going, Matt. I don't know what I'm doing, but part of me feels like I'm just getting started, dude. And feel like to where if the right door is going to open, the right opportunity is going to present itself. But I've learned the hard way. I'm not rushing anything. I'm not jumping into anything. I'm going to take it as it comes. That's along with my lumps and my nuggets of gold. I just feel like there is a bigger plan for me. I'm 43, single, no kids. I've been through a lot, like a lot of other people in this world. And I just feel like I'm still here for a reason, because I should have been gone a few times. I've totaled 2 different vehicles. That it was just crazy how I walked away. And this is all like, oh, you think you're here for a reason, dude? It's not like that, but like, I've made it through the stuff I made it through, so why not take advantage of it? You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to be a worker ant. I don't want to be that. You see the ant farm, and all these ants do the same thing, where if you're sitting on your front porch eating ice cream or a snack, that trail of ants that comes, gets it. And I don't want to be in that trail of ants. I want to get out here and make my own trail. I want to get out here and help other people make their own trail. Like 2019 is where a lot of it changed for me. I was at Harris Teeter. I loved it. I liked the company. I hated my job. I didn't want to do it anymore. I was in a relationship with someone that I thought I was going to marry. That wasn't going anywhere. Quit my job. I left the person I thought I was going to marry. I went on this. I changed how I was eating, man. I've lost a lot of weight, and we'll talk about that eventually. But Matt, I don't know what you weigh, but I've probably lost about what you weigh. And I've done all these things trying to make myself better. That way I'm better to the people around me, because I want to leave something behind. I want to I'm just getting started, man. I don't even know what I'm rambling right now, but
no, you're not. It's a podcast. That's the beauty.
Yeah, that's what we do. We talk on podcasts. No, man, I just
whatever the heck we want to talk about.
I'm blessed with the people that support me. You don't hear many people talk bad about me, because I try to treat everybody the way that I want to be treated, and I feel like I'm going to have more opportunities so I can help more people feel better about themselves, because I know what it feels like to not feel good about yourself. I know what it's like to not think you'll ever be happy again. So if I can make that person happy for a minute or 2 minutes through that day if they're living through hell, then I don't know, man. Like I like to laugh, and I want to make other people laugh or entertain people, or I'm just trying to figure out why I'm here at the end of the day. I still don't know.
Fishing a part of that at all? I know you fish as a co-angler for some. Like, do you want to jump in and fish?
Yeah, oh, dude, for content and have fun. Yeah, not tournaments. I'm not a tournament angler, man. My best friend, like, we fish tournaments together. My brother, him as well. They don't like fishing with me. I'm not built for tournament fishing, dude, because I will lose my mind. I'm that guy that gets snapped off, and I will break it over the side of the boats. Dude, I am mountaintops and valleys. I'm high and low, dude. I don't have a good medium. So I'm not your best tournament angler. I'm not that cool. You seem like a calm, cool, and collect dude that doesn't get rattled much. Bro, I'm like a paint can. I'm always rattled.
Dude, that is a taught, like I had to teach myself that. I'm the most high-strung, anxiety, overthinking guy on the water there is. And everything I do on the water and how I fish and decisions that I make is based around knowing how many weaknesses I have. Because I would do the same thing. I would run all over the place. I would get upset. I still do. I mean, I still, you lose that fish, and you can tell, you can't lie to yourself on the water. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You can act calm and stuff, but if you're not calm in your head, you're done. You're gone. And I think like Ike Anelli's the reverse of that. I think he's like that, but I think he is together and calm in his head. But my whole strategy is around preventing putting myself in bad situations that I know I'm weak at.
Right. I am my own worst enemy in so many different aspects of life, whether it's fishing, whether it's hunting, second guessing myself, making that bad decision whether should I go here, should I move to this spot or that spot, or hunting? I don't know. Yeah, dude, I just get so mad at myself to where I'm just like, you know what? I just want to have fun. Even like filming content, bro. I know guys watching this that try to film themselves fishing. I'm going to buy a GoPro and I'm going to film all my stuff. It might last 1 or 2 trips. Then after that, you're like, you know what? Screw that GoPro. Screw going through 8 hours trying to find one fish catch. It froze on me. I can't find the batteries for it. It's a pain in the butt making fishing content, dude. So I don't know, man. It's yeah.
I think you go through phases, like where you're super pumped to do it, and then you got to take a break from it, and then you can go back to it. That impresses me, the guys who come out with like a video every 3 days for the last like 8 to 10 years. That's insane.
It's work, man. It really, and that was so I was posting on YouTube for I don't know, but it was the editing. It's exhausting, and then for me, the computer would crash. It'd be like 90% done. It would crash. So many things that were disheartening just because maybe I didn't take time to learn how to do it the proper way, or I never leaned on the right people to just do it my own way. But I would just editing, man. I had a card corrupt or this or that. I got tired of trying to make 10-minute, 15-minute fishing videos. And it seems like now my spontaneous stuff, like people follow me just for my stories on Instagram or Facebook. Like that's where, if you want to watch me, you want to see why people watch me. Like my stories, dude, I'll get stories that'll have more shares in my videos just because it's spontaneous. Like I guess that's one reason I've somehow been able to last in this industry is I guess my value comes from the quick wit, always being the fat kid getting, not necessarily picked on, but I'm just quick when it comes to comebacks and stuff like that, or kind of having the insight on social media of knowing what people want to see. That's the real reason I'm here, is because of social media. It's not because I'm good at fishing or any of my fishing videos. It's because I knew what people wanted to see. I knew what people would what would make people laugh or get engagement, So moving forward, trying to make more content like that, just with more clothes on than what I've worn in the past.
Are you still tight with John Cruz?
Yeah, John's still my boy. Yeah, we haven't talked in a minute, but yeah, I'm still, yeah.
Dude,
Johnny
he's
boy.
like, I don't talk to him that often, but like as far as a guy who seems like he's very happy with what he's done, been able to meld the business with the fishing side, like that's a dude you can learn from, man.
Oh, yeah. He oozes confidence. I just want to choke slam him sometimes. He's so confident. I'll be around him, dude, and just will talk. He just oozes confidence. And that is one thing, too. I've learned this the hard way. And I think when you have security, when like for me, that's what's been easy for me to move in the industry. So go with the flow, because I made it easier on myself by like with work and what I did with money, and how I guess that's why I've never had to, I don't want to say be a sellout, but I've always been able to partner with who I wanted to partner with. I've never had to make these decisions. But what I'm getting at, Cruz, Missile Baits, and his support system is great to where he just oozes that confidence because he's not under pressure. You see guys that get under pressure feel like they just are doing things that don't seem organic because they're under pressure of, I don't know if I'm making sense or not.
No, 100%. I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
We're going to take our final break of the show. When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the St. Jude Bass Classic. You've been covering this thing a number of years. I made a classic mistake, and I talked to Adam Bartuzek, like, hey, we're catching him out of the lake. I caught a 5.5 pounder. He's like, dude, we will not go down this way. It's all about current. It's all about the seeds. It's all about the transition fish. And I was like, I think we can do it again. And we come in with 16 pounds the second day, and he's like, told you, we got smoked. So we'll talk about the St. Jude, some of the people there, talk about that tournament outside of Minnesota. I feel like even though it's still in Minnesota, this needs to be a national event. And I want to get your thoughts on that. So we'll be back BTL on a Wednesday.
Elite Series Pro Daryl Gleason here. My Pro Guide batteries keep me going on those long tournament days and long practice days. Always plenty of juice, never fail. The best part about Pro Guide batteries, it's the people behind the company. They have over 40 years experience in the battery business, keeping all of us fishermen out on the water longer, catching more fish. Check them out at ProGuideBatteries.com.
What's up, Bass Talk Live fans? Brandon Polnick here. And ever since I won a couple Bassmaster Elite Series events on X-Zone Lures, I've been getting a bunch of questions of what makes them so special and different. And really, the truth is, it's in the details. The little details, things like no cheap fillers in their plastic. That gives you more lifelike action, more realistic and vibrant colors. But don't just take my word for it. Go to www.xzonelures.com and check them out for yourself.
Vibrating jigs are a great choice for any time of year, and the Kamikaze Swim On is a perfect match for any vibrating jig. Two sizes and the unique tail design gives it a bait fish profile and a great swimming action for realism. There are 17 colors. See them all at bigbitebaits.com.
The Spro Little John crankbait has been around for almost 15 years, and it is one of my go-to crankbaits whenever I need a fish in the boat, so you can never have enough new colors. That's why Spro's coming out with a handful of new colors, including Pearl Shad, which has this bleached out white look, but it's got this pearlescent, really, really pretty. We've got Copper Shad, which looks amazing in the water. It's got that purple flake on the back, really, really pops in the water. And then if you want some real pop, we've got Sparkle Shad, nothing but sparkles all over this thing. And then last but not least, we've got the matte Sexy Shad, just a really different looking color for a crankbait. So you want to give them a little different look, that matte Sexy Shad is definitely the one to go with. All these colors are available in the original Little John and the MD.
Combining one of the most popular hook styles with Gamakatsu's beefier Superline offering, the Gamakatsu Superline Offset Round Bend delivers the strength necessary to target big fish in heavy cover. Well suited for braided line and heavier fluorocarbon, the Gamakatsu Superline Offset Round Bend is built using stronger Superline wire that allows anglers to easily fish a finesse worm around heavy cover. The round bend offers a larger bite area, perfect for any worm presentation, while increasing your hookup ratios. The newly enhanced Z-bend holds your plastics on the hook longer, reducing the number of pull-offs and reducing damage to plastics. Available in 2/0, 3/0, 4/0, and 5/0, this is the most durable worm hook, designed for heavier lines that hold your bait on longer.
Preparation is key to success. And that preparation starts well before you ever hit the water. You're only as strong as your connection to the fish, and your line is that critical connection. Confidence in your line every minute of every day on the water is a necessity, and failure, it's not an option. Sunline makes the fluorocarbon, nylon, and braided lines to give you the strength to guarantee your confidence.
Welcome back, BTL on a Wednesday. Talking with Fat Cat Newton, B. Dude, if you ever need money, you could probably sell some of that wood in the background there. It looks like your whole garage is wooded out. It looks pretty cool back there.
Thanks, man. It's all pallets. I probably broke down. My garage is 1,200 square foot. It's probably got about 100 pallets in here that I broke down and put up.
What's the boat in the background? Is that an old Merc on it?
This
he's getting up. He's showing it.
That's a kayak.
Oh, he's got the kayak. Now he's walking over to the boat. It looks like it's got a power pole with the old school.
It's got a transom light with a 25 on the back.
Okay.
This is what you're going to see. This is kind of the evolution of Fat Cat videos. Something my brother and a good buddy of mine, Big Cornbread Pool's been working on. Like I say, I'm not done making the crazy
Corn Dog Pool?
Cornbread.
Cornbread
Pool. Yeah, he's got dude, he's a mechanic. If it's got a carburetor on it, he can make it run. I bought that little outboard for $10. He had it running in 15 minutes. But I've always wanted to make content with them. I want to start doing different stuff, but still incorporate the silly Fat Cat stuff. So this is a project that we've been tinkering with that hopefully be out sometime this summer.
That's awesome. All right. 24th Annual St. Jude Bass Classic, $735,000 raised, which brings it over $5 million. Next year is the 25th anniversary. And I didn't think I even mentioned the winners last time, which was Eric Ronigan and Jim Johnson. And I got to give you credit. So you go up to Minnesota and you have all these like Scandinavian and Eastern European last names, and you have to bring it up both like at the banquet and on stage. Like it's like announcing the entire Czech hockey team, and you've got to do it every day on stage.
Terrible, man. I feel so bad because I know what it's like. We talked about earlier to have someone mispronounce your name.
Yeah.
Like, dude, back in the day, people would call my house when I was a kid. They would ask for Bernard. My dad would say, no, Bernard's here. Well, we want to speak to Bernard. He's not here. He'd hang up on him just because they wouldn't pronounce his name right. So all the folks were cool, but yeah, I definitely just
Zabrowski, Potarachek, Kostrowski. Like, dude, they know how to have a last name up in Minnesota.
Yeah, dude, a lot of vowels in the names, dude. Like, threw me off. I'm used to Sullivan, Newton, Jones,
Smith.
Green, Smith. Yeah. But no, it was cool, man. That whole event is wild. But it's just, we should have opened. I should have. If you guys are still watching this podcast, which you probably not because I'm boring, because I just can't see.
I hope they're still watching it. Most of them are an hour and a half long. I hope no one bounces after an hour and 12 minutes.
But here's the deal, dude. $735,000 was raised by one tournament. Like, just let that sink in. It was a tournament with 75 teams. These 75 teams raised $735,000 for St. Jude. They did it many different ways, a lot of them by auctioning and doing different things. But I don't know and Matt, you can speak on this. I don't know of another charity event, fishing event in the bass world that has raised that type of money for any one tournament. To raise that kind of money is just absolutely incredible. Speaks volumes about those that are involved and the organization itself.
It's pretty insane. And then how they also run the organization. I said this on stage, which is weird. I'm still not super comfortable talking on stage, even though I talk on the podcast every single day. It's just it's different because you have to get your mind right to talk on stage, and then boom, you're up there. But what I said on the second day was just from all the volunteers, to the people who worked at St. Jude, to the community, to the golf carts, to the ramp, to the breakfast, to how they launch you and weigh you in with all the guy at the point who, when you idle pass, goes, and go to every single one. And I looked at Bart and I was like, that's wild. I've never seen that. He's like, dude, that's like a staple. He does that every single year. Then they stand on the little bridge and it has your weigh in time, and it's just so well run. And there's a very substantial payout for it. Like I said, I mean, that was part of the reason why I went for the 20,000. It was a double positive there. You raise money for all the charity, you draw awareness to it, and you have a chance to put. I mean, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't part of the reason why I was up there, was the potential for the payout.
And it's funny too, because it's a competition on who can raise more money, because the top 10 get to go out in that order both days. Yeah. Then the rest of the field will flip flop. But if you are in the top 10 fundraisers, you get to go out in that order both first day and second day. And on this particular tournament, that's very important, because a lot of guys, when they go out of Wabasha, they want to make a left and go to Pepin Lake, or they want to make a right and go down Lock through to Pool 5. So these guys are in competition to raise the most and to win the tournament. It's wild, dude.
From a fishing standpoint, I guess I didn't realize how diverse the fishery was, with the backwaters, the smallmouth, the largemouth. You can fish slackwater, you can fish current, you can fish grass, wood. Like you said, you can lock. It's a very diverse fishery. And it's at a time of the year, too, where it's probably the most changes I've ever seen take place in a fishery over a 3 or 4 day period. It just has a lot of neat elements to it, and it's pretty much always the first week of May, isn't it?
Yes.
And the reason that they have it is because they have seasons. I don't know if they have seasons in Wisconsin. I know they have like bass season in Minnesota and stuff, but because it's a border fishery, it's open year round, from what I understood, so you can fish it. And then the other wrinkle that's in it is a 6-fish limit, which I was not fond of used to.
It used to be an 8-fish limit.
That's what Bart kept explaining to me. He was like, dude, we're not in Oklahoma, bro. It was like, Dorothy, we're not in Kansas anymore. Yeah, right. We're not in Oklahoma. Like, the the number of fish, the number of 3-pounders. Well, look, I mean, we literally averaged 2.99 pounds of fish. That's a 3-pound average over 12 fish. We finished in 25th place. And he said that's the thing up north is the 5 fish limit, 6 fish separates people who are really on them, because that additional 3.5 pounder is a lot tougher to catch than just 5 of them. And, you know, sure enough, the team that finished in second with almost 44 pounds, they didn't even weigh a big fish. Third place only had a 484 and a 5-pounder for Eric and Jim. You know, if I don't catch the 5.5-pound smallmouth, we're toast. We're like down there in the bottom. But, you know,
Right.
if a frog had wings, he wouldn't bump his butt every time he hopped. But it's just a really cool event that's well run. A lot of cool places to stay around there, especially that time of year up in Minnesota. So would highly recommend anybody who's looking for there's 3 different things. It's kind of like a little vacation getaway with the coolness of small town. You get the tournament vibe, get the tournament juices flowing, and throw in the charity aspect of it, raising money. If you're looking for something to do from outside of Minnesota, fishing the St. Jude, I think should be at the top of your list. And you've done it a number of years. I hopefully you'll back me up on that.
Oh, 1,000,000%, man. It's a great experience. Indeed, Wabasha, Minnesota, it's just like a time. It's kind of like it's a Minnesota version of Mayberry. It's laid back. It's a very, very solid, small community, like zero crime. It's just a great area. Matter of fact, St. Jude, all the equipment that they used to announce, all the speakers, all the big Megatron screen, all the audio engineering stuff left out overnight in a public parking lot there in Wabasha. But where we are right there in Wabasha, Minnesota, there's a bar called Slippery's. It's a restaurant, tavern, 2-story.
Mm-hmm.
Slippery's. And that's where, I don't know if you know this, Matt, but they filmed part of Grumpy Old Men right there around Wabasha.
Yeah, we ate there.
Yeah, so Slippery's is pretty cool too. It's got a little bit of history there, and also the National Eagle Museum is there. So while you're there in Wabasha, you see eagles flying everywhere. That's all over the place. That's because like one of their a National Eagle facility is right there in Wabasha. But you can go there and visit that and see the different eagles. It's a cool place, man.
Yeah, if you want to find more info on it online, I see someone said, "Hey, can you repeat that info?" You just either Google the Dick Hiley Hiley Bass Classic. Dick Hiley St. Jude Bass Classic. It's the first thing that pulls up. You can also go to the Facebook page for it for more information. It gives all the details. They do a really good job of keeping.
Did anybody that has any questions about the Dick Hiley St. Jude Bass Classic, hit Fat Cat Newton up, man. You can hit me up on the Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. You can email me at fatcatnewton87@gmail.com. Anything that you guys need information wise on that event, St. Jude in general, I will get you in contact with the people that you need to talk to.
And like I said, the cool thing is the more money you raise, once you hit that $5,000 plateau, now it's $20,000 first place. So there's an incentive for everybody in it.
That's right.
And it's interesting hearing all the different stories of how different guys raised monies from, bar events, like T-shirts, where they work, family, like there's all sorts of different ways that it blew my mind at how much like that leading team had like $140K.
Yeah, crazy.
And so many guys had like 20, 30K. Like it was over 20,000 for a bass tournament to be in the top 10.
Yeah, it's crazy. And here's the deal, man. A lot of those guys, not a lot. We had some guys, it was their first year fishing it because it's a 100-boat limit at that. The way it is there in Wabasha, the DNR only issues a permit for 100 boats or less.
And there were 70 this year.
Yeah, we had 70. So, like, for me, my goal is and I don't want to take anything away from the tournament. I love everything about it, but I would love to have 100 on the waiting list. I think it's that big and that important of a tournament. And who knows? Next year's a 25th anniversary. I brought up $1 million. We've raised $735,000 this year. Next year, let's raise $1 million. If we only raise $100,000, that's fine too. But I just think with the awareness of this event and how special it is, and it just keeps gaining traction, it's the banquet. How about the banquet? What did the banquet do? If the tournament for you was meh, what was the banquet for you, Matt?
It kind of just drove everything home. Like, I mean, yeah, we'd raised the money, we'd done the T-shirt sales and all that, but Adam kept saying, he's like, wait till the banquet. You'll understand all of it. You'll understand why this is such a big deal. You'll understand how much this helps. And then to see, I can't remember their names now, but the family that stood up and talked about their
Rick Pelletier's family.
Yeah, Rick's family, but then also the lady who talked about
Rode, yeah.
Yeah, so they're
the Roadies.
Yeah, so
Connor's
their son who looked just like the father, and
Adam.
like did nothing wrong. I mean, just like you didn't, and was diagnosed with cancer at 2, and then it kept coming back in the different forms. And how, what really drove home to me was, I'm like, I don't see him here. Like that hit me like 5 minutes into them talking, and I'd be like, I feel like if this story has a happy ending, he would be here. And they said, he passed away when he was 8, but they were there talking about the 6 years that St. Jude gave them with their son, and then taking the stress away from the financial burden of it. And it's just like, dang, who really cares if we don't know where we're going to catch a 3.5 pounder tomorrow? Like, that's real life. Who cares where we finish on it? Now that $6,700 that the BTL family donated, like, means something. And then hearing the story from the people who went to St. Jude's and seeing the flags of, of every country that's represented by someone trying to figure out how to end childhood cancer and these diseases at St. Jude. And it was very real and very well done. But also some lighthearted, funny moments in it as well that celebrated, it wasn't it also celebrated St. Jude, and it celebrated the people that they've helped, and it celebrated the people who worked to raise money for them. It's just, like I said, 24 years into it. And I've been to like first years and stuff. It's just, you can tell these people are very proud of that organization and the relationship it has with the tournament fishing community.
Yeah, dude, it's cliche, but it's magical, dude. It's the vibe in that room is unreal. It's everybody's there for the right reason. And even with charities, if cancer has never affected you, childhood cancer especially has never affected you, it's probably not that big of a deal to you. But like once you hear these people's stories, or you realize that you can actually make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing to me. You're not just raising money, giving it away. You don't know where it's going. Here, you raise the money, you see where it's going, and you actually get to witness the money that you raised make a difference. So that's one of the most important things to me, because we're always asked to donate. Hey, donate to this. Hey, do you want to round this up? Hey, do you want to donate there? Because I don't know where it's going. I'd be more, willing to do so if I knew where it was going. That's why my money goes to St. Jude, because I know where it's going. I've seen how it works, and it's wild, man. Crazy.
Mm-hmm. And like I said, you have a personal story with it. Unfortunately, I'm sure almost everybody in that room had a personal story.
Right.
And one of the main things that they talked about was how, and you talked about this in your video, and that's what seemed to choke you up in your video, was the impact it had on your family, like the extended family of it. And I had a second cousin that lives in Ohio, like not a part of my everyday life. Yeah, I mean, I've only got 4 first cousins, and I'm an only child. It's a very small family. There's not that many of us, not that many blood relatives that I have. And she had diagnosis leukemia when she was like 3 or 4. And just that 3-year process of going through it, she's fine now. She's great. Everything's good. But I just remember I was removed. I'm living in Oklahoma fishing and stuff. And like, it was always an update, always, thinking about, and it does just, it affects the entire family, not negatively in all aspects. It can bring families together too, but it also can create a ton of stress. So I was just thinking, man, I couldn't imagine being firsthand directed with this, with someone that you created or that is that tight to you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And no one did anything wrong for it to happen. It's just life.
That's one of those things, man. You grow up hearing it, man. Life's not fair. Life's not fair. And when something like that happens, it's not fair, but you have to make the best of it. And so like my situation when I was diagnosed, my family was already. I come from my parents were wild, like, and I have a lot of parents were like this, but just kids raising kids, and when you're a kid raising kids, my mom was 16 when she had me. What I'm getting at is all throughout life, we're taught to wake up, brush our teeth. We're taught to make our bed. We're taught to drive on the right side of the road, pay your taxes. All these things we're groomed for and taught and prepared for, but there's no way to prepare for your kid to be diagnosed with cancer. You know, when you're already like, man, you can barely get the bills paid now, and this happens or that happens, then all of a sudden find out that, you know, you got a kid with cancer, your whole world comes down around you. And we weren't fortunate enough to have St. Jude there. And the stress that comes with that, if you're already, you know, I don't know, if you're already stressed out as it is raising kids, now you find out that your kid has cancer, you don't know what to do. So my story is my family didn't have, we weren't fortunate enough to have St. Jude, but since I've been working with St. Jude, I've seen what they're capable of. And I know that would have definitely helped my family just because of the stress. The stress is, there's no way to prepare for it, man, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And it's
real life. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's cool that something that everyone has a passion about can come to help, genuinely help that cause. I mean, it's not too many times in life you get to raise money and do something that you're true passionately about.
And I feel good to a certain way about it, Matt, because I'm actually now, I see, especially on social media these days, everybody wants to preach to other people on what they should do or shouldn't do, but they're giving them advice without the experience and what they're giving them advice for. The one thing that I feel confident about, I feel good about, is that everything that I say is coming from experience.
Yeah.
You know, I can't really do that with fishing to a certain extent. I'm like, how to win a tournament. This is what you got to do to win.
Well, neither can I. I can't do that for winning a tournament.
But I can definitely tell you why St. Jude is good, and I can definitely tell you why childhood cancer is bad.
Yep.
I've lived it, you know.
Yep.
And so, like I said, and I've never thought in a million years this whole fat cat thing would take this turn, but maybe this is where I'm supposed to turn, right? Like maybe I don't know, man. As long as whatever I'm doing is making people feel good, you know, I don't know. Like that's what's kept me going this whole time with Fat Cat. It's just bringing positive energy to people. And like this whole St. Jude thing has been like a whole nother level of that.
Mm-hmm.
Bringing awareness to it, like really making a difference. Not just putting a video out there with my shirt off, hoping I get views and comments and shares. Like what I'm doing now actually makes a real difference. And not to say what those silly videos weren't, because they were making people happy.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'm just trying to find the purpose of life, man. If we're being real, just trying to, what the hell am I here for? Like what is life? Because we get so caught up in, got to go to work today, man. Got to be at work at 9. We get so caught up in the stuff that we think we're supposed to do, but like you only get one life. So if you can't try to just step back and make the biggest difference with that one chance you get, because we rush to do this. Well, I have to do this a certain way. I got to do that a certain way. And then when you realize, you look behind you, your whole life's behind you. Like I'll retire when I'm 70. I'm good on that, dude. I'm not retiring. I'm going to do what I want to do right now. I know a lot of people probably think they can't, and maybe you can't right now, but if you have that mindset and you start preparing yourself now for what you can do in 10 years from now, it's kind of, I don't know, man. I feel, once again, I'm in this weird space in my head where I feel weird talking right now. I'm on a podcast just rambling about this life, and it just feels weird.
No, that's what it is. I think everybody finds itself.
All of a sudden, like, who am I to be giving life advice, though? It just feels.
No, I know.
It's about how to make a viral
about what's going on. Fish is a weird deal. You get a lot of time to stand on the front deck by yourself with nothing but your own thoughts in your head, and there's like no one telling you what to do or how to do it. I think it's it is fast paced, but there's a lot of solitary, a lot of decision making, a lot of soul searching in it. And I think you'll find anybody that's in the industry has been through that at one point or another. I mean, heck, read Ike's book. He's curled up under his boat deck crying, almost done with the sport. We would never have known who he was.
What do we got? We got right here.
Fat Cat's left the
Look, I got you, boo. Right there.
There it is.
Oh, got it.
The Fishing on the Edge. You also got to read that Bass Boss book in honor of of Ray.
So, dude, okay, let's talk some stories real quick. All right, Ray Scott, I think it was 2005 on Takahiro, won the Classic. My boy, me and Melly Yella.
2004, Lake White.
2004, that's when it was. We've been to every Classic since 04. Was 05 in Louisiana? Where was 05 at?
05 was Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh. So we didn't go to Pittsburgh or the other Louisiana. We've missed 2 since 04. So it would have been 04 when Talk went on.
Like Wiley. I knew it.
It was Wiley. I knew it. Ray Scott was there. He signed an autograph. So I had his book. And a buddy of mine had recently did some crazy stuff and may or may not have shot some windows out of somebody's truck because it was a long story. But anyways, he was in jail. So I wanted to get the book signed for him. Told Ray Scott the story. Ray Scott was a character, dude. Had us laughing like a dog. Signed the dude's book. He made like a paragraph. But Ray Scott was top notch to us, man. And then another time at one of Brian Robinson's events in 2018, I want to say. I was talking to a lady there. She runs Canines for Cops, Christy Schiller. Yep. It was like 10 o'clock at night. The auction was over, the thing we were doing for B-Rob's event. We got talking, and Ray Scott brought up. He's like, yeah, I know Ray Scott. I'm like, you don't know who Ray Scott is. You're not in the fishing world. She's like, hold on. She's like, boop, boop, beep, boop. She's like, hey, how's it going, Ray? It's Christy. I hear him talking. She's like, hold on 1 second. I got someone to talk to you. Hands the phone to me, and it's Ray Scott, 10:30 at night. Buddy. Like, this is like, cool. Dude. So now I'm talking to Mr. Scott. He has no idea who I am. And this was like right when he had sold his estate. The big, where they were catching 10-pounders every cast and all that. But, dude, I got to talk to Ray Scott for like 15 minutes on the phone. He had no idea who I was, but he could not have been a bigger sweetheart to me. He was awesome. We talked about things and this and that. And, it was different. But Ray Scott was definitely – he deserves a national holiday.
Ray Scott Day.
Ray Scott deserves a national holiday.
Our careers, and it's just you want to talk about like making an impact. Now I understand Ray was a salesman. He didn't do BASS out of the kindness of his heart to generate jobs for millions of people. He did it to make money. He did it because he had a vision. He did it because he had a passion for it. Like I said, he was the ultimate salesman, but he kind of embodied what you've talked about a lot of this interview, finding a purpose, making a difference, having a passion for something to where you get up every morning and it feels meaningful.
Right.
So
I like that comparison right there. I like that.
There you go. Yeah. What else you got? Fat Cat?
I'm good, man.
You're good. I greatly appreciate it. I wasn't sure what direction this was gonna go in, interview wise, just because you never know. I mean, it's like hard to talk to someone you don't know for an hour and a half.
Yeah, dude, it is, man. I appreciate you having me on and everything. Like I say, podcasts are hard for me because I never know. Do I come on here? Ha ha ha! They won't cheat that tall. Ha 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 ha! Do I come on here with nunchucks and my guts hanging out? Yeah. But no, I appreciate you having me on, dude. Thanks for giving me a platform to talk about St. Jude, and thanks for talking about NPFL, man. National Professional Fishing League. We got events coming up. You can go to nationalprofessionalfishingleague.com. Check out our schedule, all of our social media stuff. On there with my boy Luke Duncan. On the Water is going to be this week. We got a special. Next week will be a special guest. Bradley Hallman will be doing On the Water. Normally we've been having James Worldwide Watson all year. We got a good thing over there, dude. It's a good group of guys at NPFL, and it's crazy that who runs it. Like, we don't have some suit and ties in the office telling us what to do, this or that. It's a bunch of good old boys out there, and the wheels almost fall off every tournament. But sometimes we hold it. Somehow we hold it together.
Oh yeah, so, the behind the scenes of the top level tournaments is funny.
That's where the views are. That's where the views are behind the scenes. But anyways, dude, I appreciate it, man, and everybody out there. Thanks for listening. If you made it this far, and hope to do it again sometime soon.
Heck yeah! If you don't follow Fat Cat, follow him on his socials. Like he said, the third stop of the TNPFL, May 22nd through 27th on Watts Bar. Fat Cat will be there on location, and then we'll be in studio for the final day. So this has been BTL on a Wednesday, May 11th. We will be back tomorrow for day 4, number 66, with Frank Scalish taking calls taking calls. The Sunline hotline will be open, and we will talk to you guys then. Until then, this has been BTO on a Wednesday. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow.